And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, on today's show, we'll discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Today, my expert contributor is Suzette Mailer with her IFAB Travel Corner, or Travel Series, I should say. And my special guest is Sean Lefebvre, talking healthcare on his Geared for Wellness Corner. Now, I want you to know that at 4:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it's currently 95 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, I want you to know that's down from 102 degrees on its way to 67 degrees. And you know which one I'm looking for. The 67 works for me. Now, stand by for news, because that's what we're going to be talking about right now. Let's get right to it. Basically, Pollard to be freed, U.S. analysts spied for Israel. Jonathan Pollard, a former Navy intelligence analyst whose conviction of spying for Israel stoked fierce international passions, has been granted parole and will be released from prison in November after nearly 30 years. The decision to free Pollard from his life sentence, announced today by his lawyers and then confirmed by the Justice Department, caps an extraordinary espionage case that spurred decades of legal and diplomatic wrangling. Critics have condemned the American as a traitor who betrayed his country for money and disclosed damaging secrets, while supporters have argued that he was punished excessively given that he spied for a U.S. ally. Pollard is due to be released on November the 21st, 3 decades after he was arrested while trying to gain asylum at the Israeli embassy in Washington. Though American Jews have wrestled with how much leniency he should get, Israelis have long campaigned for his freedom. The government there has recognized him as an Israeli agent and granted him citizenship, even as recent American presidents have resisted efforts to free him early. We are looking forward to his release, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in a statement just today. Well, you know what? 30 years? Maybe it's enough time. Don't you think? How about this? Zimbabwe. An American being sought for lion poaching. Zimbabwean police said today they are searching for an American who allegedly shot a well-known protected lion known as Cecil with a crossbow in a killing that has outraged conservationists, and others. Authorities today said 2 Zimbabwean men will appear in court for allegedly helping lure the lion outside of its protected area to kill it. The American faces poaching charges, according to police spokesman Charity Sharambwa, I guess it is. The American allegedly paid $50,000 to hunt the lion. Zimbabwean conservationists said though the hunter and its local partners maintained that they didn't know the lion they killed was protected. Walter James Pollner was identified today by both the Zimbabwe Conservation Task Force and the Safari Operators Association of Zimbabwe as the American hunter, a name that police then confirmed. We arrested 2 people, and now we are looking for Palmer in connection with the same case, Sharambwa said. You know what? At some point, doesn't killing of any kind just disturb you? It's not a sport. Well, here's one came in today. Obama delivers frank words about Africa's problems. President Barack Obama arrived in East Africa with no big American aid packages, no ramped-up U.S. military resources for fighting terror groups, and no new initiatives with billions in government backing. Instead, he brought a frank message on democracy, corruption, and security that could perhaps be delivered only by a Western leader viewed in Africa as a local son. The future of Africa is up to Africans, Obama said during a trip to Kenya and Ethiopia that concluded today. Far too long, I think, that many looked to the outside for salvation and focused on somebody else being at fault for the problems of the continent. The president's advisors rejected the notion that Obama's policy toward Africa is all talk, pointing to the long-term potential of initiatives to boost power access and food security for millions on the continent. They stressed the importance of America's first black president, one with a sprawling family still living in Kenya, capitalizing on his ability to speak not as a lecturing Westerner, but as someone with a personal stake in the continent's success. He is someone who is broadly respected by not just the leaders, but the peoples of these countries, especially young populations who make up increasing percentages of these countries, said Ben Rhodes, Obama's Deputy National Security Advisor. So, for that reason, I think people pay close attention to what he has to say. Hear, hear. I think that too. You know, Kerry implores Congress to back the Iran nuclear deal. Secretary of State John Kerry warned skeptical lawmakers not to nix the contentious nuclear deal with Iran, insisting that it includes strict inspections and other safeguards to deter cheating by Tehran. If Congress does not support the deal, we would see the deal die with no other options, Kerry told the House Foreign Affairs Committee on Tuesday, or today for that matter, as he testified for the second time in a week, part of the Obama administration's all-out campaign to sell the accord. Kerry spoke as the administration picked up critical support for the deal from Representative Sandra Levin, a Democrat from Michigan, a strong supporter of Israel who referred to his Jewish background in announcing his decision. I believe the agreement offers the best option to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon, Levin said in a statement circulated by Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, a Democrat from California, who was leading the effort to round up Democratic support for the deal in the House. Well, only time is going to tell. And you know what? It just seems to me, if we get rid of partisan politics, that the best bet is for us to support this deal. Well, don't go away, because when we come back from this short break, we're going to talk about health care spending to accelerate, the U.S. report says. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking news, and let's get right back to it. Healthcare spending to accelerate. That's what the U.S. report says. Here's the deal. The nation's respite from accelerating healthcare costs appears to be over. Spending on healthcare will outpace the nation's overall economic growth over the next decade. The government forecast today underscoring a coming challenge for the next president, not to mention taxpayers, businesses, and individual Americans. A combination of expanded insurance coverage under President Barack Obama's law, an aging population, and rising demand will be squeezing society's ability to pay. You know, by 2019, midway through the next president's term, healthcare spending will be increasing at roughly 6% a year compared to an average annual rise of 4% from 2008 to 2013. The higher rate of increase is still relatively modest, says the report from the Office of the Actuary in the Health and Human Services Department. The forecast through 2024 does not foresee a return to pre-recession days of torrid healthcare inflation, as the government and private employers try to revamp the way that they pay hospitals and doctors to emphasize quality over quantity. Even so, the report is not great news, said economist Douglas Holtz Eakin, president of the American Action Forum, a center-right think tank. The main point is that the bill will continue to grow faster than the economy, which is what pays the bill. He added, the next president faces the task of reining in the growth of federal entitlement spending. I do think this becomes something of a liability for anybody coming into office, and they need to have a very proactive policy to address it, said Dan Mendelsohn, the CEO of Avalere Health, a market analysis and consulting firm. Mendelsohn served in the Clinton White House as a health policy expert. Boy, it looks like we're headed for some challenges, but you know what? What good are solutions if you don't have challenges? Seems to me to be the right thing. Well, Libya court sentences Gaddafi's son to death for 2011 killings. This came in today. Muammar Gaddafi's son and one-time heir apparent was convicted and sentenced to death today by a court in the Libyan capital, Tripoli, on charges of murder and inciting genocide during the country's 2011 uprising. But Sheikh al-Islam Gaddafi is unlikely to face the firing squad anytime soon. The sentence was handed down in absentia because he remains in the hands of a militia in western Libya that has refused to hand him over for the past 4 years. Yet, another sign of the country's bitter fragmentation since his father's fall from power. The uncertainty surrounding Saif al-Islam's fate underlies both the weakness of the courts and the general chaos this North American nation has descended into. Split between rival militias and governments while being threatened by an affiliate of the extremist Islamic State group, which has benefited from the turmoil and captured some areas in Libya. And you know what? And the mess just keeps going on, right? Well, jail releases more footage of Sandra Bland before her death. Texas authorities today released several hours of footage showing Sandra Bland during her 3 days in jail, saying they wanted to dispel rumors that she was dead before arriving there. Waller County Judge Trey Duhan, I guess it is, said such conspiracy theories, including one that Bland's mugshot was taken after her death, have prompted death threats against county officials. Because of some of the dealings or some of the things that have gone out on social media, the county has been literally attacked, he said at a news conference, adding that the FBI is investigating the most serious threats. Sandra Bland was alive and well until she was found hanging on July 13th in her cell at a Waller County jail, Duhan said. Authorities have ruled that Bland's death 3 days after her arrest during a confrontational traffic stop was suicide. Well, we'll see what actually comes out of that, right? Lots of questions there. Well, GOP leaders plan Senate vote on Planned Parenthood Fed aid, too. Well, here it is. In 1 hour ago, the Senate will vote before its August recess on a Republican effort to block federal aid to Planned Parenthood. GOP leaders said today as anti-abortion groups clamored for action by lawmakers. Democrats said they will strongly oppose what they called the latest Republican effort to weaken women's health care programs, but stopped short of flatly predicting its defeat. The positioning came as an anti-abortion group released a third covertly recorded video of Planned Parenthood officials discussing procedures for obtaining tissue from aborted fetuses for research and showing stark close-ups of what it said was fetal tissue in a Planned Parenthood lab. The unveiling of the videos has put Planned Parenthood and many Democrats on the defensive, though there is little sign that they won't be able to head off the GOP effort. Well, you know what? Good luck. Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid, the Democrat from Nevada, said of the uphill Republican drive to garner the 60 to 100 Senate votes, they will need to cut off Planned Parenthood's money. We're dealing with the health of American women, and they're dealing with some right-wing crazy. That's where he said. That's what he said. That's how he said it. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to deal with the IRS loses. In the case up today, the first case is no penalty for an honest mistake. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show. The IRS loses. And you know what? We're going to be dealing with this right now. I think you enjoy it as much as I do. It sets the hair up on the back of my neck. The first case is the IRS loses no penalty for an honest mistake. And here's the case. Jorge Svoboda exercised stock options to receive $75,000 of income that was taxable as wages, but he didn't understand the law and reported it as tax-favored capital gains. Now, when the IRS increased his tax bill, it added 20% penalty. He protested with the tax court, and this is what the judge said. Mr. Svoboda's mistaken reporting of the income resulted from an honest misunderstanding of the law that is reasonable in light of his experience, knowledge, and education. Since there was reasonable cause explaining his good faith error, the penalty is lifted. 20% of that $75,000. So let's just say that the tax on that $75,000 was going to be someplace in the vicinity of, let's just call it $14,000. And another 20% on top of that, $2,800. So give that some thought next time you think about the fairness of the IRS. How about this? The IRS loses, can't collect non-payment penalties when no return was actually filed. Here's the case. Charles Wheeler didn't file a tax return to report his retirement income of more than $40,000. The IRS assessed tax. He filed a case in tax court, and the court decided the amount of tax that he owed. The IRS then sought penalties for non-payment of the tax and of the estimated taxes. He went to court. This is what the judge said. The non-payment of tax penalty is based on the amount of tax due as shown on the return. But Wheeler hadn't filed a return, and the IRS hadn't filed a substitute return for him. Similarly, the minimum estimated tax payments due are based on the prior year's return, but the IRS hadn't put one into evidence. So the penalties cannot be collected. You have got to just love this kind of stuff. I just love this stuff. How about this? The IRS concedes, and you know that I always say that the IRS only concedes when they know they can't win in court. Here's the case. An auditor can consider unfiled form to shift exemption for a child to divorced parents. Here's the case. You know, when divorced parents have a child, the non-custodial parent cannot claim a dependency exemption for the child unless the parent with custody signs IRS Form 8332. That's release of claim of exemption for child of divorced or separated parents, or a similar statement. Now, IRS regulations then require that this form be attached to the return of the non-custodial parent who claims the exemption. Now, the IRS's legal opinion? When parents dispute who gets the exemption, an auditor can consider a signed Form 8332 even if it wasn't properly attached to the return as evidence of who should get the exemption on the merits, with the non-custodial parent remaining eligible. That's exactly what you would expect to happen. That's what I would expect. But let me leave you with this one. The IRS loses. A 6-hour layover makes it away from home expenses deductible. Will you hear this? A ferry captain on Puget Sound, Washington, worked 17 hours a day on runs completed within 24 hours that included a 6-hour layover at an away-from-home port. He paid for his own meals and deducted them and other costs as away-from-home travel expenses. But the IRS disallowed the deduction, saying he was never away from home. He had used no premises or hotel room in the distant port, but only slept on the boat when necessary. This is what the court actually had to say about that. The captain did sleep during the layovers, and the need to sleep on a trip is a test of being away from home for tax purposes. The fact that he slept on the boat, that didn't matter. So the captain qualifies for his travel expenses. That's exactly what you'd expect to have happen, wouldn't it? Yeah. Wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff? That's what we're talking about right now when we talk about inside the IRS. These aren't tax court cases, but these are precedents that the IRS has set out. And if you handle them well, you can use them as defenses in your own case, or at least know where the IRS is going to be coming from. This first case is be prepared to document your deductions. The IRS is now requiring tax return preparers to adopt a standard of more likely than not before they claim a tax deduction or take a particular tax position on a client's income tax return. Meaning, it is more likely than not that the return would be upheld ultimately by a court. The tax return preparer is now liable for a penalty of up to the greater of $5,000 or 50% of the income that he or she earned from preparing the tax return. Tell me they're not pouncing down on you. Absolutely they are. How about this? Be careful before deducting entrance fees and monthly maintenance fees paid to a continuing care retirement community. We'll call them CCRCs, okay? Now, CCRCs generally provide qualified long-term care services for which a medical deduction may be available. Now, here's the problem. In their effort to sell apartment units, sponsors of some of these CCRCs overestimate the portion of these fees that are tax deductible. That's the portion used to provide medical services. So you got to be careful. If the IRS audits you, it's going to require that you prove with independent evidence that the amount deducted is correct. And that's not so easy. Also, the bigger your living quarters, the higher the entrance fees and monthly maintenance. However, the amount attributable to medical expenses is not a function of the size of the apartment. So keep that in mind as you're moving along. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be talking to our own Sean Lefebvre, and he's going to be talking about healthcare in his Geared for Wellness Corner. And you know what? I think, not sure, but I think he is going to make an attempt at talking about Mercury. We'll see if that's a planet or if that's a metal. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:34 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently, get this, 95 degrees at the in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? The heat is being turned up. Now, we have our own Sean Lefebvre waiting in the wings. He's going to be talking about healthcare in his Geared for Wellness Corner. But you know what? I'm not so sure what exactly he's going to talk about. So let's get him in here and find out what the heck is going on.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
Sean, welcome aboard. So I don't know what the heck's going on. Are we going to talk about last week and bring forward Mercury from last week to this week? Or are we going to talk about this week and talk about last week and the Mercury poison we didn't get to talk about? Or are we going to deal with this week as a whole new week and talk about something that I'm not even expecting?
I thought Mercury was the messenger god. So I have
I thought it was a planet.
Send us a message to tell us what to do, because I'm even more confused now than I was before I called in.
Well, you know what? I am so happy to have you say that, because, I wouldn't want to be sitting in this position all alone.
So, no, I don't want you to be all alone either. So especially when you're drinking that good whiskey of yours, you definitely don't need to be alone. Then you got to call me for that. But, so, how was your day? You didn't talk about the weather. Did I miss that part?
Oh, you know what? First of all, it's 95 degrees. I did talk about the weather, but I had a wonderful day. I actually had lunch at the Anaheim White House today, a magnificent place where Bruno Serrato actually, it's a magnificent restaurant with gourmet food. It's an Italian restaurant, and he serves 1,000 to 1,500 young homeless children every day, and he feeds them dinner every day. And it's become such a popular event that there's a number of places nationwide and internationally that are doing that. And so my good buddy John Hansen and I met there for lunch today, and John does the wine segment on Mondays here. And
Right.
We just sat there and had a wonderful, wonderful lunch today. And it was just fantastic. So then I drove home through what I thought was horrendous traffic, wondering why the heck I had ever left. And now I'm on the air with my good buddy Sean Lefebvre, who I thoroughly enjoy actually at least twice a week.
At least. So you said this guy feeds 1,000 to 1,500 homeless children a day, you said.
That's right.
Not just in that one restaurant, like in all of his restaurants?
No. Just that one restaurant. He actually caters it to them. Takes pasta and all the stuff for these 1,500 kids, and he feeds dinner to 1,500 kids every single night. They're motel kids and homeless kids, and he feeds them every single night. And now he actually has offshoots of this throughout the country, and he's opened some areas in Europe that they're doing this now. It's just a wonderful thing. Now, his mother, Katerina Serrato, who has just recently passed away, was the catalyst to this, and he just keeps it up. And this is just a wonderfully dedicated, unselfish gentleman whose business continues to grow, and it's just a magnificent, beautiful restaurant that he has, but his business continues to grow because he is so selfless about it.
Obviously. That's unbelievable. First of all, what an amazing guy he must be. I mean, just what an amazing human being to feed that many homeless kids. Just the amount of effort it would take, let alone, the fact that he's given his own time and resources and energy. But the other side is that 1,500 homeless kids just in one area.
And just from that one, that's just the Anaheim area.
Yeah, just in Anaheim. There should not be 1,500 homeless kids in the whole state of California, let alone in one city.
Makes you
boggles my mind. I read the statistics before about how our homeless rate is for children, and it's very, very high. But that just, when you put it like one city, there's 1,500 kids. I just can't even wrap my mind around why we have that many homeless kids when there's so many people
Sean,
out there.
when you think about it, and we're thinking about this just being in the Anaheim area, and that's just one very small area when you consider not just the state but the United States, doesn't it just make you want to weep to think about these kids?
We've got Disneyland. People come from all over the country, all over the world to go to Disneyland, right in Anaheim, and they're surrounded by homeless children, and they're out there having fun and hugging Mickey and shaking hands with Goofy, and and there's all these homeless kids, and that just boggles my mind. I can't even wrap my mind around how that's possible in our culture right now, that we can allow that.
Well, I'm going to take it a step farther, because, and I wasn't going to get into a political issue with you today, but I'm going to take it a step farther.
Yeah, so
it's got nothing to do with Obama. It's got nothing to do with Bush or anybody else. This is an issue that has been going on for decades in the United States. And the problem is that we continue to look for ways to service other nations and their military needs, and we're not even taking care of just the basic needs of our youth here in America. If you think about one city having 1,500 homeless kids that don't get anything but one meal a day, in this particular case, what's going on in the rest of the communities in our country, and what are we doing to fix it? It seems to me like we've got our priorities stuck in the sand somewhere, other than I can't say where I'm really thinking.
I'm with you on that one. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. And there's so much going on in our country right now, and since we're on this political rant, I don't know. Have you heard about the DARK Act that just got passed?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so the DARK Act just passed Congress. I think it's going to the House, to the Senate. I can't remember where it's going next. Anyway, the House. It's one of the next step. I can't remember who's taking it next, but they just passed this DARK Act, and it's called. I don't know what the exact number of it is, but basically they've nicknamed it the DARK Act because it's Deny Americans the Right to Know is what DARK stands for. And basically what they're saying is they are going to make it the law in this country that GMO foods with GMOs in them do not have to be labeled GMO, which is bad enough in itself. But what they're also doing in this act is they're making it illegal to put on the can, the bottle, the box, whatever, that your product is made with non-GMO crops unless you go through an FDA-approved process of getting your statements approved and the food approved and everything else. So you can't say something is non-GMO. Legally, if you have something that says non-GMO right now in your box, it's got to be taken off of there, and you've got to go through. And of course, we know what that's like to go through a government process.
Except that this is heavily weighted to the other side, and that is just so basically wrong, Sean.
I don't get it how we can pass a law in this country that basically takes away the consumer's right to know and informed consent. Even all this stuff going on with here in California, where they say, you know what, we can force vaccinations on your kids. Or I guess they can't actually force vaccinations, but what they can do is they can tell you can't go to school. The only option you have is to homeschool your kids. And, they really take away the right to informed consent at that point. There are people out there who want to make it the law, and we're working at it. They're doing a great job. They're making progress, that everybody mandatory has to get vaccinations, whether they want them or not, period. And that totally violates our civil rights of our right to make an informed choice, to give informed consent. And they're doing it with our food. I mean, this is the first time in my life that I look and I go, I would rather follow the leader of Russia right now than follow the leader of the United States of America because of what's going on in this country.
Let me throw a curve at you, Sean, real quick. Have you heard of the ghost cities in China?
No.
In China, because China was having an economic problem and they wanted to shore up the economy there, they decided that they had to put people to work, and they had to start doing that through construction. So China literally built cities. I mean, high-rises and residences and commercial buildings and all these things, and roads and infrastructure. And, I mean, not just one, but a number of them. and they did it to shore up their economy because, obviously the government is a socialistic government, a communistic government, and so they had the money to do those things, and that was to get people to work and to get money into the economy. And yet today, and this has been done over years, today those cities sit with 100% vacancy, and yet they have people that are there that are homeless. And what would happen if the United States didn't spend the billions upon billions of dollars supporting other governments, and we spent those billions of dollars upshoring our economy by doing this kind of construction, but instead of having those buildings 100% vacant, why wouldn't we put the homeless and the needy in them?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Why wouldn't we? There's no logical answer to that.
No, there isn't.
It's
just like there's no logical answer to why these big companies can pay off the lobbyists, to pay off the legislators that create the laws to protect those companies that have GMOs as opposed to those that do not. There's something wrong with that entire deal.
Yeah, this country is moving more and more in the direction where we're writing laws not to protect people, but to protect corporations.
Yeah,
and it has become a country, of the people, for the people, by the people. It's of the corporation, for the corporation, by the corporation. I mean, it is. We are moving more and more towards that.
I'm an old guy. You and I have talked about that before. I'm an old guy, and I actually am old enough to remember when this was a free country. Oh,
yeah. Even I remember that. It wasn't.
I remember when this was a country of, for, and by the people.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I grew up with too. And I look at it and I wonder, some days I read the news and I go, when did this happen? Because I can't even grasp it. Some of the stuff is been like, why would we have a government that would be willing to put blinders on its people when it comes to the foods they eat? You're not even allowed to know what's in your food anymore. That used to be the thing. That was the whole point, was label the food so we know what's in it. And now we're saying, no, instead of doing that, we're going to make it illegal to tell you what's in the food. And I don't know. This isn't even a political issue as far as Democrats versus Republicans. It's all of them are doing it. They're all guilty.
Yeah.
So when we come back, we're going to go on break here. But when we come back, maybe we'll talk about Mercury. Mercury actually seems happy now all of a sudden. When we talk about this. So we'll be back in a little bit.
All right, we're talking to our own Sean Lefebvre in the Geared for Wellness Corner. We got off to the wrong stop, took up a whole half of his segment. But when we come back, we're going to talk about Mercury. We're not going to talk about the planet. We're going to talk about the metal. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. Aho Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know, this show will go a lot better if I remember to turn my microphone on. But you know what? Right now, we're talking to our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. We're going to talk about Mercury and Thor and Isis. And, well, let's just talk about Mercury. What the heck? Sean, let's talk about Mercury.
I like Thor, too. I'm not even sure where we were. We were talking about exposure to mercury and how it is in relation to mercury vapors. And, the United States, the EPA has set, there shouldn't be more than 0.1 microgram of mercury per kilogram of body weight. So, figure the average person is, depending on how big or small you are, somewhere 50 to 100 kilograms, for an average sized person, male to female kind of deal. So, you're talking, what does it come out to for someone who weighs 100 kilograms, which is 220 pounds, would obviously be an exposure limit no more than 10 micrograms of mercury. And the World Health Organization, their guidelines, I think, are a little bit more strict. I know that they say just for the tolerable concentration of the air that we breathe, and this is for long-term inhalation, should be no more than 0.2 micrograms per cubic meter, which the average person breathes in probably, and I kind of tried to do some math on this, and where I can find the stats, and depending, obviously, if you're sitting or walking or running, it obviously changes. But on average, it seems like the average person breathes in probably about 1 cubic meter of air per hour.
Okay, so now I got to stop you because you're going from micrograms to cubic meters, and how do we relate to that?
Well, you shouldn't be more than 0.2 micrograms, so 1/5 of a microgram of mercury in the air that you breathe per cubic meter of air. And we breathe in probably about unless I did my math wrong, which I'm pretty sure I got it right, but we breathe in about a cubic meter of air per hour on average. So they say not to breathe in more than 0.2 micrograms of mercury. Well, we know that these amalgam fillings alone produce more than that per day. So we're just by having amalgam fillings in your mouth, you're exceeding the World Health Organization's tolerable concentration of mercury vapor inhalation.
Well, Sean, let me ask you, if if we weren't having the recognized issue of the mercury that are in amalgam for your teeth and stuff, is there mercury also in the air that we breathe without that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what they're talking about. This is where I got that off of was a kind of a 4-page paper from the World Health Organization, and it was about preventing disease and talking about health environment or health by creating a healthy environment. And it was talking specifically, of course, about the exposure to mercury, which is
so the mercury.
In their terms, a
the
major
mercury that's in the air,
threat.
Sean, that we're breathing, that's not part of the amalgam that we're talking about. Is that because of pollution by industrialism, or is that because that's just the nature of the planet?
I'm sure some of it is by nature going to just be there, but I don't think that it would be enough that we would have to worry about it because we mine the stuff, and so probably the people who are the miners that are digging the stuff out of the ground, it's way more exposure for them. Anytime that we a big problem, believe it or not, is when you cremate somebody. If they've got amalgam fillings, all that amalgam gets off-gassed into the environment. The waste that's produced every time that dentist takes this stuff out of your mouth, it's getting into the environment. And mercury has been used in a lot of things. Like I talked about the Mad Hatters, they used to use it to treat felt. And mercury at one time, back in the 80s and into the early 90s, they used mercury in contact lens solution. And of course, we know that they've used mercury.
You know what? You just make it worse and worse and worse. So it starts with amalgam, and now it's in contact lens solutions?
Yeah, well, it's not anymore. It used to be. So you're dropping mercury straight into your eyeball, and it's got direct access to your brain. The eyeballs are the only organ in your body that are connected directly to the brain without going through the spinal cord. So you're dropping mercury into your eyeball, which loves attaching itself to nerve tissue and just eating it up. It hates nerve tissue. I didn't say it hates it, but I should say it loves it because it just eats it right up. But, so we've put mercury in all kinds of things. We used to have them in the thermometers, and they've been all over the place. So we've really kind of polluted the world with mercury. And, of course, we know that there's been a lot of industrial waste that's been dumped into the ocean, and that's why we've got fish that are loaded with mercury and on and on. So most of what is in our environment, in the water, in the air that we breathe, it has come from us polluting the earth. We have done this to ourselves, absolutely.
What a scary thought.
And it is a scary thought. It really is. I know I've said this before, but there are times when I'm reading this stuff or I'm sitting in a seminar, I'm learning about it, and I just sit there and I just get overwhelmed with the realization of what we are doing to ourselves. Everyone talks about save the planet. Like, we don't have to focus on saving the planet. That's just too big of a project. We need to focus on saving the human race.
Well, you know what? And you're right.
Worry about the rest of the animals. We fix ourselves, everyone else is going to be fine.
Yeah, let's take this, Sean, in a different direction. I just saw a picture of the Earth taken from beyond the moon. Matter of fact, there was the first picture of the Earth that became so famous. It's the first time that we actually had a picture of us from somewhere else. But we also have a picture of the Earth that is just like a little pinpoint, and it says, "This is us." And the picture was taken from beneath the rings of Saturn, and there was just this little pinpoint of light, and that was actually the Earth. And then when you get close to that, when you start thinking about that, and you start thinking about, all right, we have now explored, at least mechanically, many of the planets that are in our solar system, and we have to recognize that the most beautiful of them, at least in my opinion, is the Earth. When you look at the clouds and you look at the blue oceans and you look at the Earth and all those things, and you look at the atmosphere, and if we are unique, and I don't think alone, but unique as having life in the universe, not the solar system or the galaxy, then do we not have an obligation to protect all of mankind on Earth, because it seems like our only real resource, and not play games with it. And if we know that metals like mercury are going to be harmful to not only ourselves and make us extinct, but to our planet and for those people that follow behind us, isn't that a travesty of wrong?
No, a massive travesty of wrong. I absolutely could not have said it any better. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. And it is a travesty. It's just, I get dumbfounded when I read this stuff. And like I said, I've got this EPA report sitting in front. Well, it's not sitting in front of me. It's on my computer. But, it's 1,100 pages. You don't actually set that in front of you. But this stuff's been presented to Congress, and, they don't do anything about it. I don't know if it's going to take an Aaron Brockovich or Ralph Nader to make a difference in this world. But, as far as this particular, the world of mercury here, at least in the United States. But it's scary to think that this is a metal that is continued to be used in children, in adults, in elderly people. That it doesn't matter. I mean, even the World Health Organization says that you should remove all use of mercury wherever possible. Well, we have substitutes for amalgam fillings.
Okay, so let me ask you this: is there any good use of mercury? And if not, why are we using it if other than for any other reason than it's a convenient vehicle that we shouldn't be using to deliver other things?
I'm sure there must be some good use for it, but it needs to be used in a manner that it cannot off-gas or produce vapors into the environment. Mm-hmm. Probably the coolest thing, like even those little curly light bulbs, the energy-saving light bulbs, mm-hmm. those contain mercury in them, and there's a warning label on there that says if you break it, and actually it doesn't even have a warning label on it, it just sends you to a website to go read what you're supposed to do. If one of these things break, what you're supposed to do is go through the house and open all the windows so the house can air out, and then leave the house for at least 15 minutes. And then clean the stuff up. Make sure you wear rubber gloves and clean it up with a brush or a broom.
So what you're saying, Sean, is get it the hell out of the house and let's get it into the atmosphere where everybody can breathe it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Get out of the house so you're not breathing it in concentrated amounts, and then let it off-gas into the rest of the environment so it goes all over your neighborhood in minute amounts. But it's all those little minute here and minute there that all adds up, So even that's not a good safe use, because if those things break, when you're done with them, you just throw them away. They go in the landfill, and they're not handled with kid gloves. These things are broken up into pieces, and now that mercury's in the environment again. Same thing with the old thermometers. Your mom would lose her mind if she saw you break that thing and play with the mercury, because she knew how bad it was for you.
Well, I don't want to get you off.
There is one use that I actually saw that was really cool, and I would never do it because, God, I couldn't even imagine the horror of breaking one of these windows. But they take mercury and they put a real thin layer of mercury in between two panes of glass, and then they run an electrical wire through it. And if you turn on a switch and you run a low current through liquid mercury, it turns clear. And so you can flip a switch on, and now you've got this window that's clear. And if you want to black out completely, you just turn the switch off, and the mercury turns silver again.
Is that what they do with that? They use mercury to cause that effect?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because we've been talking about
how much mercury would be in the house if someone broke that window.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah.
So we've been talking about mercury, and mercury is just one of the many elements in the of the elements that we have that we know about. Are there other elements besides mercury that we're using as conveniently as we're using mercury that are just as disastrous toward the environment and mankind as mercury is?
I don't know if there's anything that we're using as disastrous, but there's stuff that we're using that is definitely causing problems. We know, of course, lead has been used extensively for a long time. They don't use it like they used to. There's no more lead-based paint, and we don't have leaded gasoline anymore. But we've used it so much that still you can get women's lipstick. That the red lipstick. Most of it has lead in it, unless it's one of the all-natural organic types. Red Tattoo Ink has lead. They use lead in a lot of, I've seen it in children's toys and toothpaste that comes in from Mexico, I think it was. Or either candy or toothpaste. One was from China, the other one was from Mexico. And so we've used lead extensively, and we have there is not a square foot of this planet that is not toxic with lead. Lead is everywhere on this planet.
Well, you know what? We're in a mill of a hiss, aren't we?
We are. Yeah, we've done it to ourselves. And you're right. It's all for convenience. There's better ways to do it, but sometimes, lead's an easy metal to work with.
Yep, gotta be. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time, but this has been fascinating, and you and I just seem to blow through this thing. I don't know how it happens. Any idea what we're going to be talking about on your next tour here?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I've got some stuff in front of me here that, maybe we can kind of lay Mercury to bed and everybody realizes it. But I want to talk about kind of the state of really, our healthcare system and the direction it's been going. And really, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you the top 3 killers in this country, and you're going to be shocked.
Okay, I would love to play devil's advocate, which means that I not necessarily believe in what I'm going to say to you when we do that, but I am going to take the other side, whatever side that is. I don't know what side you're going to take, but I'm going to take the other side. Anyway, my friend, this has been fascinating. It's been terrific. For our listeners, do not go away, because coming up next is our own Suzette Mailer with her IFAB travel series. I have no idea where we're going, but I think we need a plane to get there. Don't go away. Sean, great job, my friend.
Thanks, Robert. We'll see you.
All right, take care.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:09 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently, holy cow, 95 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know, she's waiting in the wings. I want to tell you, sit down, strap yourself in, get ready for a vacation destination that'll just blow your mind and make you drool with our next person here. It's our own Suzette Mailer with her IFAB Travel Corner. Well, if I can get this thing to work, there we go. And help me welcome aboard our own Suzette Mailer. Hey, Suzette, welcome aboard. I'm glad to have you here. I have no idea where we're going, but I know we're going to enjoy the trip.
Well, if you like Chinese food, you might like Shanghai, China.
Oh, you told me last week we were going to go to Shanghai.
The sound of that jet reminds me of the time, you know, I traveled to China and during the bird flu. And at that time, China was very proactive in preventing it from entering the country or spreading more than it had, because it really impacted the country or the major cities financially. So, and within feet of me on this 747 was somebody with a temperature. People, a doctor and some
wait a minute, Suzette.
You were actually, came on board,
Suzette,
and they
you're actually talking about a flight you were on with this person that was ill on the plane?
Right. I was on the flight during the bird flu epidemic, and I flew into Shanghai. And I took a different airplane. Usually I fly China Air. I took a different one, and we went into Beijing, landed, and these people came on board with masks and white gowns, and they would take a gun, electronic temperature gauge, and just kind of put it near your ear to check everybody's temperature.
That was the airline personnel?
Yes, and then if you had a temperature, a doctor would come and check you out, and if somebody had a temperature within a certain range of where you were seated, we would have been, the person did have a temperature, but the doctor approved them, but we would have been detained for a week until we were cleared.
Or put into quarantine?
They took it very seriously.
You'd have been put into quarantine?
Yes.
Now, were you on the Shanghai side or the American side?
I was in Beijing. I was in
you were in
China.
Beijing, China.
Yeah. I used to travel to China on business. I would go twice a year between 2005 and 2009. And in this particular case was bird flu, and so that was kind of interesting.
Interesting or scary?
Pardon me?
Interesting or scary?
Traveling to China for me, I had a child at home and a husband, and I wanted to return to them alive and well. It was always scary for me to go to China. I was afraid of an airplane going down, or, I flew one time and, I don't know if you recall, but an airplane went down in South America just the day before. And as we traveled from Beijing from when I was traveling back from Shanghai to Beijing, we had some serious weather. Never been through anything like that. I didn't know if we were going to make it.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, it is an adventure. It's very exciting. China's fascinating. I love it. I love the Chinese people, and I've worked with them for a lot of years. But it still scares me to travel like that.
Let me ask you a question, because
it's still cowboys and Indians out there.
Yeah, I can understand being apprehensive that way, especially during that time, that era. But were you traveling alone at that time, Suzette?
I was.
Were.
You see, I had a Chinese
when you would get into
partner.
China, did you not have then a very difficult time as a woman or a female in China trying to do business by yourself?
Oh, no. They have great respect for women there. I think it's because of Chairman Mao and the great equalization of, man and woman, in, the worker and the proletariat. So no, they don't really do that. Women are not treated as chattel in China.
How about when you decided you wanted to have dinner and you wanted to go into a restaurant? Now, I've heard stories where women were frowned upon if they were by themselves without a male escort in the restaurants in China.
I never encountered something like that, but I had a Chinese business partner. He was Shanghaiese, and he lived in Shanghai 50% of the time, and LA the other half. And so he would accompany me. I would join his parties, and he sent a driver to pick me up.
So you were pretty much never really alone.
On my own.
So you were pretty
and
much,
I never had a problem.
So you were pretty much never really left alone, right?
I was alone quite a bit. It took a lot of chutzpah to do this, let me tell you. And when I was there, and I was there for 2 or 3 weeks at a time by myself.
So
not in an American hotel.
Yeah, the next question
they're very expensive.
that
and I was
begs to be
the
answered
bill.
is, were you afraid?
I was. I really was afraid. Sometimes I'd be at the factory wondering, what the heck am I doing here? What am I doing here?
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm here doing this.
And did anyone try to purposely intimidate you because you were a woman by yourself in a foreign country?
No, never, ever did that happen. Never. Perfectly safe for a woman to travel by herself. Now, let me just tell you, I was there let me give you my spiel.
Okay.
Between 1949 and 1974, the People's Republic was closed to all but a select few. Under the leadership of Chairman Mao Zedong. And after the death of Chairman Mao in 1976, China's new leader, Deng Xiaoping, a reformist in the Communist Party, opened China to tourism in 1985. So 1.4 million foreigners visited China in 1985, and Robert, I was one of them.
Wow.
I was one of the first to enter China.
So when you first went to China, Suzette, because it had to be exciting for you that the first time you're going to go to China and you're in a plane, you're by yourself, and you get off that plane. What was your very first impression, and what was the first excitement that you experienced when you landed in China?
Well, are we talking 1985 or
the first time?
1985,
the first time for you. The first time for you.
I did not fly in. I think we boated in from Hong Kong, and we landed by boat en route to Canton.
Okay, so when you did that, then Hong Kong was a British controlled as opposed to China controlled, right? At the time it was,
so it was very modern and nice. In 1985, again, Xiaoping, the Communist Party leader, had 5-star hotels built for foreign visitors, and we were only allowed to stay in those hotels, and they only approved 100 locations for foreign visitors. So we were treated very well. I joined a tour, and we entered, and at the border, it was like a typical border. It would look like the Tijuana border. It was very poor people. There was this little boy who was missing an arm or something, begging for money, and he was taking business away from a man who had a dancing monkey that would collect money. And when I gave money to the boy, it really made the man mad, and he chewed me out and chewed the boy out. And very poor around there. But China, again, those 5-star hotels and guest houses were built to show the visitor the good side of China, and there is a lot of good to China.
And so what you're saying is they steered you to what they wanted you to see. Did you have freedom to move about as you pleased, or were you restricted as to where you could go?
In the Canton, I did. It was fascinating. It's the first time saw chicken legs in buckets, for sale, chicken feet. It was very different in the city, but, you had high rises, probably 11 stories high. It was a typical city. It could smell like New York, if you will, any typical large city. Canton, we did go into the countryside, and it was beautiful. I was confronted by a huge hog. I didn't know what to do because I could jump into the river, but he seemed to leave me alone.
Did it have his name printed on its snout, Mao?
Yeah. So So after visiting in 1985, I returned 20 years later in 2005. And so when we come back, I'll share the difference between 1985 and 2005. That's kind of an interesting, stark contrast.
Yeah. You know what? And unfortunately, we're going to have to do this a couple of times because I am so inquisitive. You're talking about one of the places that I have never had the privilege to visit, and so I'm very inquisitive about what you experienced and how you experienced it and what you thought. So I know you've got something prepared, but most likely I'm not going to let you get to it.
Okay.
So anyway, we'll be right back with our own Suzette Mailer with her iFab Travel Corner. Suzette, give out your website.
iFabTravel.com. So F as in Frank, AB, travel.com. And it'll point you to my really fun Facebook page. Lots of pictures.
And we'll be right back with Suzette Mailer and our iFab Travel Corner. Don't go away. You're going to miss a lot. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, Back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're with our own Suzette Mailer, and we have traveled to Shanghai. And I've got to tell you, I know that she has something really well prepared, and I know that she's got information that she wants to give you. But I'm not going to let her do that because she's got me so inquisitive and so excited about what she experienced. I just have to ask her more and more questions. So, Suzette, here's the thing. When you stayed at the hotels, were they Americanized or were they Chineseized?
Oh, very Americanized. Again, they built these hotels and... Oh, okay. Are we talking 1985? 1985, they were very Americanized. They were brand new and beautiful and 5-star. I mean, they really treated us well. The food was wonderful. They were very polite. Yeah, it was excellent, an excellent experience.
When you were there, Suzette, are you an adventurous kind of person when it comes to culinary things, or did you just eat American food that was you recognized, or did you eat Chinese food? Although I suspect I did eat a few bugs
in Shanghai.
I'm sorry, say it again?
I said I am not, although I suspect I did eat a few culinary bug dishes in Shanghai. And I'm telling you, every bite was delicious.
Oh, really?
Oh, the food is divine. In fact, one time I looked at it, you'll find this kind of funny. When I returned in 2005, they would post their menu in the window, and it looked like they took, somebody translated for them. They took a Merck's manual, mm-hmm. which is a medical manual that, to learn to be a doctor, and then they would describe the meal, and it might be, let's see, gallbladder with bile sauce.
Oh my God!
Things like that. It was. I wish I could have, I wish they would have given me one of those menus to bring home. That was really fun. So let's compare 1985 to 2005. So again, I visited in 1985 when it first opened, mm-hmm. and then I returned 20 years later. So in 1985, there were fewer people and more bikes than cars. No high-rises. Buildings looked run down. Commerce happened on bikes, either with cages welded on to the back of the bike and stuffed with live fowl en route to restaurants. And another common sight was maybe a farmer riding a bike, pulling a 2-wheeled trailer, towering with some material they were carting. And outside of the city, they were still hoeing with water oxen for farming. So it really was, it was wonderful. Backwards.
Intriguing.
But intriguing. But let's fast forward to 2005. What do we have now? More people and more cars than
bikes. When you
bikes.
say more people, are you talking about more tourists or more Chinese?
No, more
people?
Chinese, and this is why. I returned to Shanghai, and Shanghai is the largest city, and the Huangpu River split Shanghai into 2 districts, and the old district is the Puxi, and then the new district across the river is called Pudong, and it rapidly, the development was rapid, and now you have, 300 high-rises, ranging from 101-foot skyscrapers to, 11-story, 101-story high-rises to skyscrapers, to that 11-story, low-rise buildings. And what they did was first of all, they took the land from the farmers who were farming that area and then put them in the condos. And then they and they took, farmers from the countryside, people that wanted to come live in the city. So you have a very interesting dichotomy in Shanghai. You have farmers everywhere riding bikes, pulling these trailers, and it might be 15 feet of something tied down, stacked on the back of it. And we just listen to this visual. And then you have a very modern Shanghai, and we have printed billboards there. Their billboards are LED, and they're lit up, and they're huge. And you can see the silhouette of this farmer biking past in front of this huge billboard that's lit up, and it was really quite a visual. But so you have the modern young people who are in business, working next to the farmers.
So which did you prefer, 20 years ago or current?
Oh, I like current. It's fun.
Was it cleaner?
The hustle and the bustle.
Was it
the
cleaner
traffic's
now
terrible.
or then?
See, back then in 2005 or in 1985, what you saw were maybe 2 or 3 lanes filled with bikes. The streets were much like ours, here in America, but it would be a half a block deep in bicyclists waiting for the light to change, and then when the light turns green, they all take off. And with just a few cars, tiny trucks spotting it. But today, you don't have that. You still have a lot of bikes. You have moms, with their teenagers or child sitting in the back side saddle, mindlessly eating their breakfast as mom is, bicycling them to school. And it's like seeing a kid here and at the back of a station wagon, not a care in the world, just, going to school like every day. Mm-hmm. Lots of mopeds, and it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous with all the cars. It's very dangerous to ride bikes.
The
and
biggest
moped
deal
out
about
there.
the 20 years is industrialization, right?
Absolutely, because, China isn't it an agrarian, started out as agrarian. And, it missed a lot of the technology age, and so it doesn't have the baggage, technology baggage that we have here in the States. We have telephone poles and.
Okay, so I need you to define technology baggage.
Oh, well, telephone poles and wires and
as
old
opposed
television, old refrigerators.
They have underground as opposed to overground. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure, but how do I say this? I think they only, in the last 25 or 30 years, did they get television? No. I have to refrain. Yeah, maybe in the last 30 to 40 years, they were allowed to have televisions. Maybe in the last 50 to 60 years, they were allowed to have refrigerators. So it's new for them. Everything is new, and so they don't. Here in the States, we have old things that we have to get rid of, old telecom systems, and mm-hmm. They don't have that, old telephone systems and whatnot. So, I'm not a techie in that regard. I'm not a historical, I don't know the history of that, but I have heard that they don't have that kind of baggage.
Okay, so let's talk about shopping. You are at that time a very young lady. Did you go shopping at all, or were you afraid to go shopping? Did you find deals? I mean, I actually have a Hong Kong tailor for my suits. Would you have bought dresses and executive suits that were custom made there in China?
Are we talking 1985? 1985 in Hong Kong, absolutely. There was no time. There's only 7 days in China, so no time to have anything like that done. I'm not even sure it was available, but definitely in Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me? That the British were occupying it, and it was a beautiful time in Hong Kong. I'd like to go back now to see what it's like, mm-hmm. now that the Chinese government took it back, but I'm sure it's doing just fine.
So what was shopping like when you were a young lady there?
It was wonderful. Jewelry stores. I purchased a couple of beautiful watches. Now, I have to tell you, I didn't have a credit card, so I used all my money up.
Now,
those
were
watches.
The watches real watches, Suzette, or were they knockoffs?
No, they were real. In 2005, you could buy lots of knockoffs.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about knockoffs in 1985. But in 2005, it's everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. So,
Gucci and.
Would you be comfortable and excited about making a trip if you and Ray were going to go on a vacation? Would you be excited, and Annalisa, would you be excited about going to Shanghai and Beijing and Hong Kong?
Well, I don't think so. I've been there so many times. I've seen a side of it.
Why do you say that?
I've been in the hospital. I've just seen a side of it that sort of took the illusions away and in the glamour. I just saw a side of it that
was not so great.
Made me not want to return.
Oh.
I love my daughter, and I think it can be unsafe, and maybe I'm overprotective. I don't know, but.
And yet you said that when you were there, you felt safe and you felt comfortable and you got around.
Well, they don't always
not
do
something you'd
seatbelts.
want to expose
they don't
your
have
daughter
seatbelts
to.
in the taxis. And another time, somebody at the factory was driving and had me in the front seat of this special kind of truck that barely had a front end, and people were drunk in the back. My partner, he was, they'd been drinking. They had been drinking at a restaurant, but they had a driver who was not drinking. He wasn't allowed to drink, and so, just things like that. I became ill. I was
so you'd be off to Europe before you'd be off to Asia.
Absolutely.
But you do not regret for one moment the experiences that you actually had when you were a young lady in Asia.
No, I was so happy to go in 1985. That was I wouldn't trade that for anything. I felt safe. It was wonderful. I went back in 2005.
I mean, 30 years ago, you were a really young lady. You were a single lady then?
I was.
Okay, so you were really 30 years ago. You were a very young lady. You weren't apprehensive and fearful at all?
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of chutzpah.
Yeah, you did.
I sure did. I mean, can you imagine China just opened? I was just going to visit Hong Kong, but then I decided to go into China, catch a tour in there. And, yeah.
Wow.
So, but again, in 2005, if you stay in the city and if you stay I like American hotels, it's really a nice experience. But again, I was staying outside of Shanghai in the countryside, and they were doing a lot of building out there. So there was, although beautiful buildings, a lot of construction material laying around, and then I became ill, and I had to go to the hospital. I think I caught salmonella from something, and I had to go to the hospital, and I survived. I thought I was going to die, but I survived. And that's an interesting story. I was in the hotel room. Nobody spoke English. The factory paid for the hotel room, and I wasn't feeling right. Something wasn't right, so I went ahead and set up my Skype on my computer because my cell phone didn't work there, and I started going downhill fast, and I was passing out, on the verge of passing out, and I went down the hall and knocked on a door, and some Chinese woman followed me back to my room, and I started dialing my business partner's number on Skype, and he finally answered, and I said, I think I'm dying, I need an ambulance, and he said, I said, speak Chinese, and he started speaking Chinese. The woman behind me turned and went to the computer, and he told her what was going on, and then, they sent for an ambulance. And, I could have died in a lonely hotel room in the outskirts of a town. So, anyway, that
well,
might...
you know what?
That's
For one, I'm glad you didn't. This was
but
fascinating.
I sure had a nice story here written up for you.
Well, unfortunately, we're going to have to do it on your next. We're going to have to do it on your next segment because I am so fascinated with this experience you had. I bet I got 1,000 questions I could ask you that I want to ask you, and I'm going to ask you. So let's continue this.
I would be honored because there is a lot to talk. There's a lot more to talk about in Shanghai, like the massages. There's not a Chinese who doesn't give a good massage. So.
All right, we've been talking to our own Suzette Mailer with her IFAB Travel Corner. Suzette, this was just fantastic. What a wonderful trip, and we're still there, right?
Yes. Okay. We'll pick it up next week.
Sounds great. Now, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to talk about the birthdays for today, and we got some great ones. The secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard Business Tip of the Day, and interesting, but useless facts. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Love you, Suzette. What a wonderful segment this was. I can't wait to talk to you next week.
Good night.
Good night.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:42 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 93 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's down from 105. That's hot, folks. And it's on its way to 67, which is pretty nice. I can't hardly wait for that. But you know what today is? Yeah. You know it. It's somebody's birthday. It's July the 28th. And you know what? I think we need to celebrate. And you know what? This person was born in 1945, a cartoonist who created the popular comic strip Garfield. You know who that was? Yep, Jim Davis. He was born in 1945. Happy birthday, Jim. And in 1948, this person was one of the founding members of the new wave band Devo and composer of most of the material that they had, including the hit Whip It. Happy birthday, Gerald Casale. And finally, here's somebody everybody knows. She was born in 1948, an actress known especially for her role as Gloria Bunker Stivic, the daughter of Archie and Edith Bunker on All in the Family. Happy birthday, Sally Struthers, yes, sir. And today in history, in 1933, diplomatic relations between the Soviet Union and Spain are established. And in 1945, a U.S. Army B-25 bomber, wait for this, crashes into the 79th floor of the Empire State Building, killing 14 and injuring 26. That was back in 1945, folks. And in 2002, 9 coal miners trapped in the flooded Q Creek mine in Somerset County, Pennsylvania, are rescued after 77 hours underground. Wow. Think about that. And finally, our quote for today comes from John Lennon. We all know that Beatle. And he says, "Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans." Think about that. Boy, you talk about a profound statement for a young man his age. Think about that one for a while. Absolutely. Well, you know what? It's time for our secret daily teachings for your life. And our secret daily teaching always deals with a positive mental attitude. And today is no different than any other. So here's the teaching for today. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are creating the movie of your life. They are invisible forces which exist within you. And together, they are creating your life movie, which is screening as your life experience in the outside world. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are under your direction, and you can change all of them. When you do, you'll see the movie of your life change immediately. Now, give that some thought. You talk about being profound. That's it. Well, it's time for the Harvard Business Tip of the Day, and the management tip today is make the audience a priority during your next presentation. When preparing a presentation, we think about what to say, the data we need, and which visuals to include. But what about the audience? Your presentation is to be tailored to their goals and concerns in order to make an effective case, to learn what makes them tick. Consider this. What roles do audience members play in the organization? Knowing where they fall on the organizational chart helps you understand their responsibilities and how you can help make their work easier. And then, will some attendees' goals conflict with others? If so, acknowledge that up front and explain how what you have to offer may help. And what do people already know? You want to give people just enough background to understand what you're saying and how it affects them. And then finally, how well does the audience actually know you? If you don't have strong relationships with them, establish a rapport by opening with an amusing personal anecdote. That works, folks. That is going to make you glad that you prepared in advance. Now, it's time for our interesting but useless facts. First up, and I've said it before, actually I've said this one before, did you know that starfish have no brains? And I thought that was unique until I started thinking about flowers and blades of grass and things like that. So I guess it's not so unique, but I think of starfish at a different level than a blade of grass. But it has no brain. That's interesting. How about this? A skunk's smell can be detected by a human from a mile away. Yeah, I can attest to that, I'll tell you. And did you know the movie As Good as It Gets is called Mr. Cat Poop in China? Go figure. And did you know that 78% of cats never travel with their owner? That's interesting. And I'll bet you didn't know this. Women's hearts beat faster than men's. Makes sense to me. And in 1789, Morocco became the first country to recognize the United States. From 1776 to 1789, and Morocco was the first country to recognize the United States. Give that some thought. How about this? Did you know that in the 1800s, the Chinese believed that strangling a man was less severe a punishment than beheading, because the body would not be permanently disfigured. Give that some thought. And then finally, how about this? The average city dog lives 3 years longer than the average country dog. Give that some thought. I will. And when I come back, we're going to talk about your emails. And the first email that I have today is from Tony Guerrera from Bartlett, Tennessee. He's asking about an over-withholding solution. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:52 p.m. Pacific Time. It's 93 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, we're coming down to the wire. It's time for our emails, and I want to remind you that this is an entertainment section of the show, and that, generally we try to answer you in as much of a comprehensive way as we can, but you know what? Your emails sometimes are a little bit sketchy, so we do the best we can, but we always remind you to always contact a licensed professional to get that final answer for you. They're going to save you more money than they're going to cost you. They're going to save you frustration. They're going to let you sleep at night. Nobody's going to tap you on the shoulder or send you a registered letter or call you on the phone, because that individual, as a requirement of their license, has errors and omissions insurance, and they're going to be required to give you the right answer. And if they don't, they pay the piper, not you. Well, our first email comes from Tony Guerrero from Bartlett, Tennessee. He's asking about over-withholding solutions and says, I filled out a new Form W-4 with my employer, but it leaves me paying too much in taxes. Can I claim more withholding allowances than the form says that I'm entitled to take? Well, Tony, the answer to your question is yes. The IRS itself says you do not have to use the Form W-4 worksheets if you use a more accurate method of figuring the number of withholding allowances. You can use the number of withholding allowances determined under the alternative method rather than the number determined using that Form W-4 worksheets. Now go to publication 505, that's tax withholding and estimated tax, and you can claim any number of allowances that will properly balance your withholding with the amount of tax that you actually owe. Now, something else that's helpful is use the IRS withholding calculator found in the individual section of the IRS website at www.irs.gov. Now, my next email comes from Xavier Henderson, Xavier's from Sterling Heights, Michigan, asking about automatic tax payments, and says, can I have my bank's automatic bill payment system pay my quarterly estimated taxes? Well, you know what, Xavier? There's a better way to do this. Use the Electronic Federal Tax Payment System, that's the EFTPS, to make payments from your bank account to the IRS electronically. So here's some details for you. Visit the IRS website at www.irs.gov and click on the e-file logo. Now, this is much better than using the bank's bill payment system, assuming the bank system will make those tax payments. And why? The IRS is more likely to lose or misallocate a payment that arrives in unfamiliar form. And if you don't designate exactly what a payment is for, as via that EFTPS, or by writing the details on your check, a bank system is unlikely to do that for you, by the way. The IRS is going to be free to apply it to any liability of yours that arises causing confusion if you have more than one tax debt. So use that EFTPS instead. You're going to be glad you did. I promise. Next email comes from Jaden Inohosa from Arvada, Colorado, asking about tax treaties, and writes, how can I find out about tax treaty that the U.S. has with a foreign nation? Well, Jaden, IRS Publication 901, that's U.S. tax treaties, provides an overview of tax treaties, how they operate and who they affect. The full text of the treaties that the U.S. government has entered into with about 60 foreign nations are available on the IRS website at www.irs.gov. Now, enter United States income tax treaties in that search box. Now, be careful. These are technical legal documents and should be you need to interpret them only with the help of a professional who is an expert in international taxation. You don't want to try and do this stuff on your own. I mean, it's tough stuff. It really is. Now, finally, my last email comes from Jamie Hoffman from Pacific Palisades, California, asking about a home office danger, and says, the home office deduction is much less of an audit flag, red flag today than it was a generation ago. It's far more, I'm sorry, I'm way ahead of myself. He's asking, will a home office deduction attract an IRS audit? And so I went on to say that the home office deduction is much less of an audit red flag today than it was a generation ago. It's far more common, and Congress and the IRS have regularized rules that once led to tax disputes. Today, it doesn't particularly create more audit risk than any other common business deduction unless it's unusual in size or some other way, which is true of all deductions, by the way. If you file an honest return and are legitimately entitled to any deduction, you should take it and not fear the IRS auditor. There's no point in paying more than you owe to the IRS. Now, you got to be careful, though. Check the rules in the IRS publication 587, that's business use of your home, and take photos of your home office to document how you use it in case the IRS actually asks you. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide, Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and on Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. On my next show, my expert contributor is Ray Mailer with his series, The American Grid, and my special guest, Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, talking wireless services. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, I want you to stay happy. I want you to stay safe. I want you to be good and treat everybody as though you love them. In the meantime, you know what? All I can say is good night, everybody.